And I literally darted out running to go get him to help save Mom, but didn't say anything to Mom. Yeah. And she says, all I could hear you going was, Dad, Mom's about to, there's a snake near Mom's foot or whatever.
Welcome to another episode of the Southside Blueprint, your blueprint for buying, selling, and investing in real estate right here in Southern Maryland. Today I'm joined by Billy Rabbit and Gloria Huber, both agents and the broker here at the Southside Group Real Estate. And we're going to have a little conversation with Gloria today. So you've done a lot of different things before your path to being a real estate agent. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was actually riding horses for quite a few years competitively, and I did a little bit of selling with that, training, also training people. And while I was in college, I kind of made a little bit of a career decision to change away from it. I had a bunch of accidents, little minor things, but just enough that I decided it probably wasn't the best thing to base my career on, because every time you have a setback with it, then, you're looking at not making money, not doing what you want to do. So, and it's really a passion sport. So I decided to take a gap year actually after college to travel, decide what I wanted to do with my life. And I found real estate a little bit accidentally. Nobody in my family's in real estate previously, but my fiance, his mother used to be a real estate agent right here in Southern Maryland. And I just thought, you know what, that's something I can try. I like sales, and I really like helping people. I think that's the biggest thing. Real estate's similar to horse sales in the kind of aspect of you're matching the house with the person, right? You're finding that right fit for them, and you're really setting it up. Like, that's what you want to have for the next 5 years.
Sure.
And same thing with horses. It's a long-term commitment. So I really enjoy that aspect of real estate, helping people find the house and get that right fit.
So finding the house and finding a horse, the same thing.
Yeah, pretty similar. I mean, not the exact same. I'm not riding horses. I'm not doing all of it at once. I don't have to train the house.
That would be pretty cool though if you show up on a horse like at a showing.
Oh yeah.
That would definitely be something notable.
Well, I need a new car, so maybe that's what I'll get, right? Take the horse to the showings for sure.
Get a carriage, yes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So you're from like the Northern Virginia area, right?
Yeah, I am. I grew up in Loudoun County, and then I went to college in Richmond, Virginia, which is still fairly horsey, but nothing like Loudoun County. I mean, That's really like the mecca of horse sports.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So we started. So Gloria and I started working here about the same exact time, right around the same time. So. And I can tell you a little bit about it too, but what would you say has been your experience, and what made you stay here for this amount of time?
I mean, I would say I knew starting real estate. It's one of those like kind of long game things, especially if you're new to a certain area. You're going to need to make connections. So I knew that my first year would be a little bit difficult. It'd be just kind of, getting that support, understanding the system, and really how to sell houses and how to help buyers get in houses and the whole, mortgage loan process too. I mean, I had never bought a house until this year, so I wasn't familiar with that myself. But I think I'm really staying in it because I see that there's a lot of growth to have happen, and I really like helping people find that. I think it's really satisfying to help a first-time home buyer get in the house and feel like really accomplished. They feel great about it too, and that's what's important to me.
Did you shop around a little bit for different brokerages before you ended up here?
I'll be honest, I actually took my real estate exam. I passed the first time, and I called Billy later that day. So nice. I had already kind of made up my mind. Yeah, I was pretty determined. I had, kind of shopped around online like people do for houses and looked at the marketing and everything. And that was really my determining factor, is how well does a brokerage market itself to consumers. That's really important too. And I love the brand image. That's really important to me.
Yeah, burgundy, yellow, and white.
And the Southside Blueprint.
Yes, there we are.
I guess that came afterwards though.
Yeah.
So cool. So have you had any chance of like going to like any I guess like Southern Maryland like horse farms here, or have you toured any properties here locally, or?
I haven't much yet, but that's definitely something I want to start exploring. I mean, as we've talked about, I want to kind of start volunteering maybe with some nonprofits and get myself more out there in the horse world locally.
Sure.
Because I still have so many connections back home, but I really want to expand that to here now.
Yeah. So do you still have like that passion and love and drive for horses and things?
I do, and I miss it. I haven't been riding, so I really do miss it. It's definitely one of those things so ingrained in me, and I was out mucking stalls like most hours of the day for years, so I'm even just used to that, the backbone of it.
Sure.
And so I miss that, and it's definitely something I want to get into too, helping buyers find horse properties, helping sellers sell their horse properties. There's so many nuances and little details that go into it and what it really takes to have a good farm.
Yeah. So, anything that you've been a professional at, what somebody's looking for, you're in kind of a unique position for people looking for things like that. Like, what would you say would be the things that people don't think about when they're looking for, say, a horse farm, if they've never done it before?
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many different ways to do horses, right? So like if you have competitive horses, you're looking for something totally different than if you just have like, a backyard farm. It's a lot easier to find a good place for a backyard farm to be, especially, if you're going to build from the ground up, that's a lot easier too. But I would say the biggest thing is like the really small details. Like, of course, you want to look at how many acres do you have and all that. But really small details like what are you building the barn out of? What are the stalls made of? Even like going down to the stall bars, there's so many different layouts and configurations, and that really matters with the type of horses you're going to have there. Like with competition horses, we usually have stall grates between them, so bars that are usually some sort of steel or aluminum. And those are good for competition horses because you don't really want them interacting with each other through there. But a lot of times your backyard barn horses, you don't even need that. You can just have a half wall between them and they're all fine and they're happy. So some of it too is just knowing, what kind of horses you're going to have in the stable, really thinking through what's going to make sense for them.
So you could really help somebody consult. You could consult with someone and they could say, these are our horses we have, what would work for us? And you could really tell them what would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it even matters too, like, do you need a riding arena? Do you need a ton of flat ground for that? Or do you have the type of horses where they're going to be out 24/7 or are they going to come into a stall? And that matters so much too with your acreage. Like the general suggestion is to have an acre or two per horse. But if your horses are living outside 24/7, you want to have more like 3 acres per horse.
Sure.
Because they're going to be on that and they, mostly eat forage, so grass and hay and stuff like that. So if they're out 24/7, they really need a lot of access to that, especially in the winter months. It's good for them too to move around. If you have horses that are retired, you don't want them in a small area because they're not getting exercise outside of being outside.
Sure.
So it's really important to think about things like that.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, you certainly don't think about all the things that go into, to that type of property. What about like the topography of the land? Is it like, I guess some land a little bit better than others? For different types of horses, or I guess what their purpose is, or what they're
on flat land, or
it definitely depends, and some of that's too a little bit of a personal preference on what you want your horses on. If you have horses like I've been eventing, and so we run cross country courses, so it's actually nice to have your fields have a little bit of a hill, a little bit of a slope to them, because they get a little extra work that way.
Okay,
and they just are comfortable, balancing themselves going down the hill and back up. But if you've got retired horses, a lot of times, you're putting them out in a big pasture with a bunch of horses. So a lot of times it ends up naturally being a hilly area or something like that. But sometimes they can't handle it. So, for example, my mom actually still owns a horse that has a degenerative ligament disease. So it's best for her to be on flat ground as much as possible so that she's not, adding extra wear and tear to her ligaments every day.
Sure.
So it can just matter too, the condition of your horses, what you're looking to do with them, sports. But the biggest thing is having good drainage, right? You don't want your horses standing on wet ground all the time. It gets gross and muddy. It gets rid of the grass. And also it's not good for their feet. So that really matters a lot too.
Gotcha. So basically, if somebody's looking for something to do with a place that they have horses, you would be the expert on this.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to help. It's one of those things that's like so ingrained to you, but you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And so if you've never, worked at a horse farm too, I think that's important. Like a lot of times people, they board their horses somewhere and, you basically pay rent for them every month and somebody else does the work. Yeah, and it can. And if you want to branch out and then have your own farm, there's a lot of details you have to think through as the person who's now going to do that work every day. Even just as little as where do you put your manure piles so that it can be accessed? How are you disposing of it? That kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a world where experience goes a very, very long way.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's very nuanced. Yeah.
Very cool. So you've been an agent for about a year now, or a little over a year, right?
Yeah, just over a year.
Yeah,
I started last June.
There you go. Yeah. What do you feel like some of your biggest challenges?
I would say definitely just making local connections. I'm just not used to having to put myself out there so much online, really, because with the horse world, so much of it's face to face. You meet people, they come try horses, or you meet people just at the barns while you're working. Whereas this is a lot of okay, I've got to go out, I've got to meet the people, and I've got to manufacture that kind of at first. But it's definitely fun because you get to meet a lot of different people, and even just the phone conversations, I talk to so many different people.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it's a contact sport.
Yeah, it
really
definitely
is. Yeah. And people don't realize that too. I mean, it's just so much of it is, like you said, building relationships and keeping those relationships, things like that, connections. It's always amazing, how you just all of a sudden it's like the right time, the right place, and all of a sudden you're helping somebody sell their house, so I could certainly appreciate that. What do you feel like is like if somebody was going to hire Gloria to be their realtor, I mean, what are some of the things that you say like, hey, this is what I bring to the equation?
I think the biggest thing is, and I was like this with the horse world too, there's so much like lying and manipulation. It's like, I'm all about honesty and integrity, right? Like, I'm going to help you. If I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to get the answer as quickly as possible.
Sure.
And I'm going to really fact check it all. I don't want somebody to buy a home not knowing what they're going into or feeling uncomfortable with the way an inspection turned out. It's really about keeping everything good and having a good experience. It shouldn't be that stressful to buy a home, right? Like, yeah, it's a big purchase, but at the same time, your agent should make you feel comfortable.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. So you've been down, how long have you called Southern Maryland home?
Now since, I guess, August of 2024. So almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you like most about Southern Maryland?
I like being near the water. It is really nice. It's definitely different because I'm used to kind of living near like a little more mountains and going hiking more often. And here, my hike is like flat ground. But I really like being near the water. And now I'm over in Calvert. So, I'm driving across the bridge to get here. And I actually really like that morning commute. So it's definitely enjoyable.
You're probably the only one.
I know. That's what I keep saying. I'm like, I need a boat so I can just like go out on the water every day.
Get you a kayak to come over to work. Yeah, we'll pick you up at the at the other side of the creek.
Paddleboard.
That's funny. You're probably the only person that actually likes going over the Solomon's Bridge every day. That's good. I mean, we hear it all the time. I mean, I think a lot of people that live in Southern Maryland take it for granted is, how close we are to the water.
Yeah, for sure.
Literally, you drive 10, 15 minutes almost every direction and you're at the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially down here. I mean, up in Charles, it's a little bit more, you got to travel a little bit, but every day I'm seeing the water, so I do like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, very cool. So, Aaron, what other topics you wanted to cover today?
So you've mentioned being near the water quite a bit down here, and that's one of the things I really love too, living down in Mechanicsville. But your family has something to do with working around the water, right?
Yeah, so we have a family business. My grandparents have an oyster company, James E. Headley & Co. And so he's been in that for a long, long time. He actually had another sort of segment of the business down in Louisiana for a while, but luckily he got out of that right before the oil spill and everything in 2008.
The cold water north oysters are the good ones.
Yeah. And so he still does it on the Virginia side. And my brother Colin actually now is an oysterman. And so he has his license and he has a few people that help him too. And they take out their boats and dredge and stuff for oysters. So it's a really interesting business. They actually use, there's different types to dredge with. So there's an oyster dredge, which basically goes down to the bottom of the water and sits on the ground, and then that dredges up the oysters, kind of scoops them up. But he can also take out what they call tongs, which is like the really old school way of doing it. And they basically take, it's like two rakes at the bottom of these sticks, and you take them, you stick them down, and you have to use, I mean, it's a lot of physical labor. I've tried to use them. They're really difficult. And you have to scoop them up and like pull them into the boat that way. But it's really fun too. I mean, it's another way to be out in the water.
They probably find cool stuff. I know some guys down in St. George Island that do this, and they find like megalodon tooths now and then.
Yeah. And sometimes we've been out too, like over to Sharktooth Island and stuff and gone out looking. So that's always fun. I like getting out there on the water.
That's cool. So lots of water and things like that. Where are they at in Virginia?
So they're in Callio, Virginia.
Okay,
so like close to Kinsale area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, totally different than Loudoun County.
Yeah, very different. But I feel like being here in Southern Maryland kind of reminds me of that in a way, being near the water like that, a little bit, tighter knit community too.
Kind of a nice medium.
Yeah.
From Loudoun to Callio. So that's cool. So if somebody was going to move to St. Mary's County or to Southern Maryland, wherever, like you did, a few years ago, what are some things that you would give them, or what's some advice that you would give them?
I would say really, when you first move here, like get out in the community, go out on the water, like trying to find ways to do that. Go to the parks too. We have so many nice parks, like beachfront parks too, which is really unique.
There's nobody there.
Yeah.
No,
And
you're
like
right.
Calvert Cliffs is so nice. I mean, that gets a little bit busier, but still really peaceful to go and walk around, like really enjoy the community and what's here.
Sure. Yeah. Now, I tell people all the time, like it's so wild, like all the things that we really have that you can do down here. I mean, either just down in Southern Maryland or whatever, but also too, I mean, you have DC, you have so much history around.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really a lot to do.
Yeah, I grew up going to DC a lot, and, you know, it was really fun. You go out to the museums, you walk around, you get a lot of culture, too, from doing that kind of thing. And I forget sometimes living here, I'm still so close to DC.
Yeah.
I'm not 30 minutes away, but, you know, it's still so close. It is just like a little weekend day trip.
So what's your favorite park down here that you've explored?
Well, okay, so I really like St. Mary's Lake because I love doing the little lake loop.
How long is that? Like 4.5?
So you can do some that are only like 4.5 miles, but there's like 12 miles of trails. So you can do a really nice long loop. I think the full loop around the lake is about 9 miles. So it's a nice, you know,
can ride your
long
bike
track.
too, which is nice.
Yeah. And I do sometimes see people out there, you know, walking their dogs or on their bike, or, you know, sometimes you actually see people fishing on the lake too. Yeah.
You have a scary story to tell about St. Mary's Lake. So we were
really?
fishing. Yeah, we were fishing probably about, I don't know, I was probably, 7, 8 years old maybe.
Is that why it's scary?
What's that? Yeah, maybe. But we were fishing, and so we were out fishing, and we were packing up, getting ready to go in, and all of a sudden or whatever. So I don't remember the story fully, but my dad and my mom used to tell it. And so they're screaming or whatever, or I'm screaming, yelling or whatever, going to get my dad. And my mom says that she remembers me hearing me like running and screaming through the woods. She has no idea what's going on. She's like, oh my gosh. I think she was like walking my sister up, and she goes, all I could hear you say is, oh, Dad, there's a snake right by Mom's foot. And sure enough, there was a copperhead. She almost stepped on a copperhead right there in the trail. And so, of course, my dad's like running over because he thinks that she was bit by the snake or whatever. And like pretty much there's this copperhead sitting right in the walking path. And I literally darted out running to go get him to help save Mom, but didn't say anything about Mom. Yeah. And she says, you know, all I could hear you going was, Dad, Mom's about to, you know, there's a snake near Mom's foot or whatever. So I was like, oh. So every time I go to St. Mary's Lake now, I'm always looking for snakes. I'm always like, oh.
Yeah, that is a good one. Any others?
I do like going to Calvert Cliffs. I mean, it's a little bit busier than usually going to like St. Mary's Lake, but it's still really nice to go. And you can look for shark teeth too.
Yeah, you found any?
I have.
Yeah,
I've only found one recently, but I actually went when I was a kid. We traveled down and found a couple.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good spot. There's a couple other good spots in Calvert for shark's teeth too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it's close. I like St. Mary's Gilbert Run, just walking around the lake.
Yeah.
It's a nice one.
That is a nice one. Yeah, there really are a ton. I mean, that's, you know, we do a good job with our parks. There's a couple over in a couple more in Charles County too that are there. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to do, really. I mean, when you really start to peel back the layers of this, I mean, there really is a lot to do in Southern Maryland that I think doesn't even get utilized by most of the people that live here.
Yeah, and that ends up being one of the biggest complaints people have is like there's nothing to do, and it's just not true.
Right.
It's just not true.
Yeah. I think no matter what, if anybody moved anywhere, there'd be nothing to do.
Yeah. If you're that person.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, Southern Maryland, we've got the water, we've got a lot of different things that we're able to do, events. So with all that being said, if somebody liked all these things down here and wanted to get a hold of you, maybe they've got horses and they need to have someone cater to their needs, like how would they get a hold of you looking for help with their real estate?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way would probably be to reach me with my phone number. So people can reach me at 240-650-2999. I'm always available that way. You can call or text me.
Cool, and we'll put all our information in the comment section below.
Where's that? Right there?
And we'll put all our information in the comment section below.
Perfect. So, well, cool. Well, Gloria, thank you for joining. So we're excited to have you here and excited. You've had a very busy last couple months for sure. So
yeah, thank you for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks again, Gloria, for visiting us. Thanks again. Hold on, crap. I don't always mess up the end. No, absolutely. So thanks again, Gloria, for visiting us today. We'll see you guys next time on the next episode of the Southside Blueprint.